What's this I hear about you becoming more of a homebody by 50?
I am, yeah. That's my goal. I have been allowed to be so outside and adventurous for most of my life, and I'm becoming more of a homebody now, taking time to enjoy the things I work for. But
You want to be on the road less?
yeah, I want to be on the road less for more money. You got to do that part. I'm in the process of building businesses. My wife and I's real estate portfolio, in terms of having affordable housing still be something that happens here in Savannah, Georgia, that's a big thing. And the biggest thing, next to, in terms of my personal thing, that I'm the tip of the spear on is growing the swag shops. I believe that the swag shop barbershops, a little 3 barbershop franchise we have that we're about to grow into 2 or 3 more stores, I think is a $100 million company. And not even that I think like, oh, it could be. No, I absolutely think that there's a need in my community for something cooler than, but comparable to, supercuts, great clips, sports clips. There's a cool in there that my shop has that those places don't. Barbershops are important in my community because they're social centers. They're tennis centers, they're golf centers, they're Masonic temples for people who aren't Masons. They're places where men can congregate and discuss politics, sports, ideas. They're places where badass women can come get their eyebrows arched, get a haircut, and say, make sure that only guys don't have say. So what I wanted to see was that culture grow.
How do you get it to 150 locations?
There are 50 black markets from Buffalo, New York to Miami to Atlanta, Charlotte, Birmingham. I want to have 3 in each one. And I want to have people that take the trade of barbering seriously, having the opportunity to work in a shop that is reflective of their talent and commitment and to service. So, I would like for us to, the next 10 years to be like the Truett family. If Kathy Truett started Chick-fil-A, still a privately owned family company. It's one of the biggest companies in the United States. I've seen it go into places like LA and start to dominate, and after spending a lifetime in the South. And that's what I'd like to do with the swag shop.
What's the status of Bankhead Seafood?
My wife has got the building built. It's amazing. My wife and Crystal, who's Doug's wife over at Grand Hustle, they are amazing partners in terms of developing real estate and this restaurant, Bankhead Seafood. Tip and I own the restaurant, but they've done the work. So I'm interested in seeing that grow. So Helen Hardin started this restaurant over 50 years ago. This is where the entire West Side and people beyond would come for fish. But I remember I took my wife, because my wife is from a port city. My wife is from Savannah, Georgia. But 2 weeks later, I was talking to Tip. Well, I talked to Tip later that day after we went. We took a picture in front of the old sign. Me and her just took a picture. And Tip we had bought some property over on the side. This is all where we grew up. This is all the west side of Atlanta. But I was like, man, something else come along, let me know. He called me back a few weeks later and says, it's gonna take these many hundreds of thousands. I'm down. If you wanna do it, let's do it together. And we went in. But my wife and Crystal Phillips, they said, we're gonna see this thing all the way through. Because me and Tip, just as rappers, could have sat on it. Like, we'll sit around, wait somebody offers $4 or $5 million for it. You know what I mean? And they said, we're gonna see this through because your neighborhood and the kids in the community deserve to see that y'all didn't leave. They deserve to be hired there. They deserve for their first job to be 10 minutes from their house and them not have to drive to Cumberland Mall to Chuck E. Cheese like we did and risk police harassment, pulling over 4 kids, going to the Chuck E. Cheese with uniforms on, searching our car for drugs. We're going to Chuck E. Cheese. So I want to serve as the same type of inspiration that the Russell family was for me, the same type of inspiration that the McKinney family was for me, that Dr. King's family was for me. That's what I seek to be.
What did Outkast teach you about real estate?
Buy it, and it wasn't just Outkast. Dre's mother, Sharen Benjamin, reminded me a lot of my mother. But man, I called her Miss B. I loved her because she and Big Boy helped me understand that your artistry, what you do as an artist, if you parlay your money right, you can be more than an artist dependent upon a company supplying you. You can be an independent thinker and mover and a leader of your family, but you have to make certain sacrifices. And some of those sacrifices were when Big and Dre could have been in the Fortune 500 list for it, they say no. They kept it very modest. They bought apartment complexes together. She would tell, them about paying their taxes quarterly instead of yearly. You get some reduction on that. And I just learned from her.
What are your long-term goals with your investments?
I'll put it like this. My great-grandparents, I have the deed, N.H. Blackman and Truzella Blackman bought a farm in 1948. That farm is still in my family to this day. My sisters and I are part owners. At some point, that land needs to get developed, and that land has never been sold by my family. And I want, at some point, my great-grandchildren to say that my grandparent bought this when he was 38, and this is still in our family, and it is still producing income, and we have been able to do more than less. My goal for the swag shop is to build a $100 million company by way of brick and mortar, and my goal with Bankhead Seafood is to see it grow, if nothing else, into a regional franchise, and the immediate, get our restaurant up and running, have people get served for food and a level of service that they're accustomed to. I always tell people, I want to be more like the Chick-fil-A and Waffle House, because you get good service. You get a smile at Chick-fil-A, you get good service at Waffle House. Sometimes you get a smile, sometimes you won't. But there are two businesses that were born out of Atlanta that I see thrive, and I would like for us to do that. And then, in terms of, musically, I feel like with Run the Jewels and with Michael, we could just keep going. I'd like to be like the Rolling Stones. I'd like to be an old man on stage, rapping my ass off.